a country has to have law and order, not deregulation. Who does this? Oh, everybody likes deregulation because they think it's freedom. See, you elect progressive conservatives, so the worst damn party in Canada, and they flooded this country like rats. So I got a form here. I'm trying to fill it out. It's to renounce my Canadian citizenship. I'm not a Canadian. I'm going to Australia, where there's a legal system. Where there's a legal system that doctors don't get paid on drugs. We got a fentanyl opiate problem. Why? Because Big Pharma was in there. Dr. Abram Hoffer came out. He was a psychiatrist, and he denounced his status and started studying micronutritional supplementation of mental health. And it's a whole series of books he wrote. But what was one of the things he said when he was alive? He said the pharmaceutical industry has to be regulated. Well, that's one of my issues. No laws, no civil law. I lost my property. I got PTSD because I was homeless, because of my family. That's called abandonment trauma. I think that's not a very good cut. And you call up every friggin' lawyer, they're on the take. They don't help you. And I've lost everything because of my niece and nephews. Because I went against the pharmaceutical industry because it's deregulated. I've got such a trauma from psychiatry, psychology, and all this rubbish. Jorgen Peterson, I can't watch. I started reading Jungian. I don't believe in any of that, the archetype. So what am I? Am I a communist? No. Am I a capitalist? I don't know what a capitalist is now. I think I'm a transcendentalist in economics and philosophy. I do not think I'm a capitalist, and I don't think I'm a communist. The isms. And I'm a spiritual man, but I don't partake to any religion because that gets into institutionalization. I don't even think if our healthcare isn't regulated, it should be free. It should be regulated. They shouldn't be just dumping drugs on you. I've seen so much malpractice, but people can't get through. Oh, hell no. I'm a holistic practitioner. I'm having a hell of a time in Canada to keep things going. See, the Roman Catholic diocese deemed Reiki a criminal evil. And you got all sorts of people on here saying that too. That's my profession. And if I'm Buddhist, that's my idea. But I'm not Buddhist. I take in the teachings of Jesus Christ, but not the church's teachings. I don't take any of that dogma. So am I, it's so bright in here. I can't even get curtains here. So am I a communist? No. I'm an anti-conservative, 100%. They've done so much harm to this country. The progressive conservatives. About the only one I ever liked was Brian Mulroney. He was environmental. So here's my problem with conservatives and Jorgen Peterson. You're all climate deniers. And you're all me people. Everything that Jorgen's 10 principles of life or whatever, he's just a menace. Jorgen, shut up. You might be a professor. My cousin's a professor. He had to leave Canada because he had another right-wing idiot. You took out the Canadian Avro Arrow because of Diefenbaker. And he left and he went to UCLA and became a logical professor of astrophysics. What are you? Deductive reasoning. Young went past that. I don't think you're a model to fit anything. And I just don't agree with anything you say. So I'm ready to denounce citizenship, become a full Australian. And I'm going to try to work in the Parliament of Australia because that's what I'm denouncing it for. So I can be parliamentary and keeping you out of Australia. No fly zones for you, Georgie. You're making your money, and I don't know where you're getting your funds. 70,000. Georgie, you shut up about women's rights. I'm a man that's gone through a lot of things. I used to think like that when I was young, but I don't think like that. I'm a grown man. I realize women need equality. Shut up. Right-wing conservatives make me puke. I look at these bimbos like that prime minister, one running against Justin Trudeau. Trudeau wasn't that bad. He's on in the second round, but everybody going around here, and it's anarchy. Truckers strike, everything. So you can have Canada, you can have the Banana Republic and keep it. I'm denouncing Canadian citizenship. You attack Greta Thunberg, you attack the Queen, and you attack everything. Why? Because the Queen had a change of heart about the environmental movement. And so what I hear is a bunch of rhetoric. You young people are so screwed up on social media. I cannot believe it. And it's just a disgusting dump. This town was all liberal. When I was here, didn't have the noise levels. It's not much industrial noise. It's deregulated car noise and trucks and widen the streets in Collingwood, Ontario. I grew up here in 1955. It's a wonder I'm still alive. I'm all on the police side, just the ones that are progressive conservatives. And on their side, I hate conservatives. Can I hate them? I hate the ideology. They have no plan to make Canada strong. No climate. They're always denying climate. They just use hate attacks. So I really question your values. I'll tell you what I've seen with women in Ontario. You keep them poor, and then you go out and say pro-life. Well, let's talk. There's a sign there. I just read it. It said healthcare is not abortion. Well, let's talk about this. Ontario healthcare is not healthcare. I haven't seen much of it. I just see sick people going in and out. Just keep them pilled, medicated. That's your healthcare. It's got the highest budget in Canada for healthcare. I've been around Canada, and I'll tell you what I saw where it was working. They got Jason Kenney in there, so I don't go back. There's not many places you can go that keep on voting those right wingers in. It wasn't too bad. I think she organized the two-tier healthcare system. I'm all for health. There's got to be health that transcends to health, not from a dozen pills at you because you're getting paid by pharmaceutical companies, docs, and running down holistic practitioners and people that use CBD and all these other things that work. Oh, there's not the studies. Now let's talk. Who's not funding the studies? And there's a bunch of cupcake medical students going out there and doing their dissertations, running down every holistic practice under the sun. This guy here, he's running for mayor, council. I was a friend of him until he said some rubbish. I've been in the natural therapy of horses for years, holistic medicine. Ian Chadwick, I'm going to attack him. He came out on Facebook. He says, it ain't effing science if your vet wants to do acupuncture on your dog. Well, listen, I'm a grandmaster. I'm a little angry. I'm just dealing with it. I'm a Reiki master, grandmaster. I never have pain. How's that? Because I'm an energy healer. I self-heal. Mental health, I cut all those cords. My mental illness is psychiatry. Think about it. Labeling illnesses. And I don't even think they're labeled right. Label them under trauma, stress, and anxiety caused by a stupid system. Traffic noise, Some doctors admit that traffic is and noise is an issue. I'm for the side of people. There's a young man here, he's in a wheelchair. I watch him every day. I've always stood for disabled people. He's trying to get across those lights, he can't. He comes across and they just put their finger up. There's something wrong with our society. These friggin' cars, fossil fuels, and you can't walk anywhere. Oh, you gotta walk to work. Yeah, you gotta walk to work. Drive to work, eh? I'll tell you, if we weren't so pro-business, job slavery, and got into passive income streams, educated kids, money management, and society, they have a passive income to work on computers instead of friggin' flipping houses. That's a deregulation. It's driving up the market. Who's that gonna hurt? Well, the rich, the poor, and in between. That's who it's hurting now. But the kids like getting quick money, flip houses. The real estate investments are terrible now. It's a racket. Deregulation. Trudeau, what did he do? He wanted to put in a block on this housing market. So I'm just going to tell you what I think. I'm not liberal on Green Party, but we can work with them. But I can't work with PC. Never could. Never could, never could, never could. All you hear is, we'll go BC there, and I'm sitting there listening to an honest discussion between capitalism, communism, it's not a fisticuff. And it's from Finland. He's a Green Party supporter when we candidate on the island of the Salt Spring. We sit down and we say, what the hell is this? This is discussion. I don't know what happened to politics once got all this attack party, and that's the Progressive Conservatives. That's not politics, that's just attack. There's no thought anymore about discussing politics politically, economically, and what it means. Just a bunch of hate against Trudeau. Problem with this freaking country, there's no justice. I can't get a lawyer, it goes beyond the time limits, and now I'm screwed. And that was the influence, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have to live on a wing and a prayer and freaking fly out of here somehow. I haven't even got money to leave. I want out of Canada. I hate conservatives. I hate them for everything I've gone through. You can tell me to shut up. I'll tell you, you just shut up right from here. Animal rights I stood for. I stood for the environment, but I had guts. You don't. You say, oh, don't go with them. They might attack you. I don't give a rat's ass. I don't give a rat's ass about right-wing parties. They're based on what? Well, in the 1970s, I went to a church. They were trying to get rid of Trudeau. They were the Catholics. So I don't really like Catholics. Never had them. Never liked them. But the little boys and Native people. They have, they shouldn't be getting into politics, but the priests do. Because I want to bugger little boys. Am I saying something facetious? You know, the only good thing I've seen in Canada, I'm not gay, I'm not transgender, but at least it's a paradigm shift. It's a paradigm shift, okay? There's no paradigm shift in Canada with conservatives. There's nothing to talk about renewables, nothing. You know, I was in Calgary and I saw a guy kill himself at the University of Calgary, probably because they cut off funds, Jason Kenney. I saw a couple of things. I saw the police having one hell of a time. They cut the funding budgets just to feed the oil companies. Is this what you want? Corporate greed and power? Or do you want to maybe get the thing, you know, he's a NDP, but you don't like him. He might be Muslim, but he's not. He's Punjabi Sikh. But oh no. NDP, you haven't healed nothing as far as Indigenous rights go in this country at all. Australia has. And what they did was they told you not to vote for when the referendum on fair voting went through. The Conservatives pushed not to get that in. So I'm trying to calm down and think of all the crap I'm going through. Every time I call a lawyer, oh, we're not representing you. Nobody does. Because they're so overpriced. I've had a lot of money taken on me. I don't know what revenue to go to. And it's all tough love because I hate conservatives. And that's what I'm having a problem with. I'm in a conservative shithole riding. Excuse my language. But I can't stand them. You know, I got calling around the Green Party with my friends here that are green. When did you figure it out, Greg? When did you figure out it was the progressive conservatives that were the problem in Canada? And look at your friend there, T-Rex Murphy with Jogan Peterson. I was on Facebook. We were talking about him. He says, I'll get my lawyer and I'll sue all of you. Oh, really? You're an idiot. You're a right-wing fascist. Now, there's only two papers I can read now. Toronto Star, and the rest are just blue crap hole papers in the BC Teal. But I don't read much else. It limits it down. Because what am I, liberal? Well, liberals were better than that. They've never been any good. Never. I think Trudeau, he got into this agreement with NAFTA, the oil companies, but I think he's getting back. We got to get off fossil fuels to bring our standards up in Canada, but they're fighting against it. So what the mayor of Collingwood become? Conservative. Well, he was a nice guy. I talked to him, but I don't really think I'm in that boat camp of PC. I'd go block, Green Party, NDP, Liberal, but no PC, no right wing. Like, I'm not a zealot, but they don't even make fiscal economic sense. We've discovered that fossil fuels are more externalities there, and you're not getting the facts about fossil fuels. You know, they've taken a lot of rights away from Canadians to gain what we used to call it. We called it civil disobedience. Well, that's a transcendentalism of Henry David Thoreau. Now, that's not breaking the law. It's to speak out against climate change. Well, they got a whole thing in Alberta there. They got acts against anybody speaking out against climate change. You know, there's only the Sierra Club, David Suzuki's association, that talks about this. Neil Young's voting for it. So they have to get this town here. They always have Neil Young acts. They're all coffee bands. You wouldn't play here in a right-wing town. This town was liberal. Why? Well, Frank Stronach, he had big business here. He had Magna International. What did they make? Those phones, what are they called? And then he went. He had wheel rim plant here. We had Goodyear Tire. We had Dole Specialties. Well, they went under because I think it was just the GM wasn't managed right. But they're improving. But they went under. Everything's gone except a few breweries. So it's a right-wing dump. It's a dibbly dump of right-wing dingers. I come back from BC and I stay in a place there. She's married to one of those idiots trying to get a divorce. Oh, hell, she's having a hell of a time, a young woman there. He's a racket kid. Yeah, he's one of these skin-headed yuppies that's extremely right-wing. Like, I like BC in some ways because it's more liberal. It's more green. It's more environmental. more spiritual. There's not much spiritual here. It's a bunch of fundamentalists and anti-abortionists and pro-choice. Let's call it pro-choice. But there's one influencer, like to allow influence of our social model of society is sick. So we come out with Bill C-66. Trudeau did. Oh, the protesting. You gotta have regulations. You're losing we're corporations, and this YouTube should be regulating what influence is. Nobody should be influencing politics. I'm just pointing out a problem with the progressive conservatives. They could change to fiscal conservatives. So here's my problem with conservatism. It's got to be conservative, and that means low growth right now. We've overgrown. I blame a lot of it on social media and influencing and selling products. Sun's in my eyes. But what do I see? Progressive conservative all the time. Progressive. Well, Preston Manning was the first start of that. I got sun in my eyes, I'm sorry. And I got to get curtains. I can't even afford anything here. It's hard to budget on my pension. Now, I'd like to see change. What I think the problem is, people don't read anymore. Platforms are useless. They're just rhetoric. You write a platform and that's got some good points on it. Like the NDP and Green had good platform points, but nobody reads them. I had a Nobel laureate come to me. He says they don't read books anymore. That's the problem. You know, I was an educated kid. I thought I knew it all, like these cupcakes that come, or just writing these dissertations on what they don't know to get a paper out. And they say such stupid things. You got to be. Okay, CBD. We haven't got enough facts on it. What? Big Pharma's always digging in there and keeping the truth away from CBD. And I'll tell you something. I think if we look at the Canadian Armed Forces and PTSD trauma, I think CBD works. Cannabis. Now, I'm not an opponent of smoking weed for recreation. It's just me. It's not my get-go. I'm not gay, and I'm not lesbian. I'm not transgender, but I don't hate them. I think it was a good shift. They had a parade here, and I got thinking about it. That's one of the pluses. This liberation of shift away from these ideologies. I don't like guys going around and saying I F Trudeau when they don't know what they're talking about. What was it over? It's fear-based because of the COVID. Now, I don't know much about the COVID. I don't have it, but people were dying of it. And it's just not a thing to use in a democracy, but there's no democracy. So you use it as a tool, the mass laws, the rules and regulations. I like people to have safety. I don't like all these people dead in Walkerton because of deregulation of Mike Harris. Remember that? That's the type of liberal conservatives you talk about. 12 dead in Walkerton. The attacks on First Nations people in Ontario by Mike Harris. Yeah. You forget that. So I get a call from friends of CBC. Let's talk about this. Friends of CBC. They were deleting the archives of the CBC back in the 60s. Things were good in this country under liberal rule, but you don't want to think that. Pierre Elliott Trudeau was a good prime minister. I don't care what you say. He was a good prime minister. He was damn good. He had guts. But he died. Justin took over. Justin's starting to get the reign of things. It took him this second term. But all I see is you weren't carrying flags of F. Trudeau. in this town. It's disgusting. I saw Mohawk Nation. He was flying out on Flag Day. Mohawk flag. They threw him in a paddy wagon and arrested him. Australia has 3 flags. I think First Nations have been uh, dishonored. I really do. They're not, and it's all our medical racket that's telling lies about Indigenous people and their genetic code. They say they're predisposed to diabetes. You know what the problem with Indigenous people is? They're not raised on junk food. The whole Western model of health is a genetic code of normality to Westernized sick people. Refined processed food causes diabetes. Insulin resistance is occurred because of our behavior and our eating habits and our diet and everything. High blood pressure is caused by a lot of factors, like the sun coming in. Like the natural fixes to everything, they're all right out the door with a single payer healthcare system. I was in a place once and they were going in for their regular, I don't know, but they said they waited 3 hours in one waiting room. She says, come into this waiting room, but take your magazines because it might be another 2 hours before you go to the next waiting room. They're going, oh, that's the single payer healthcare system. Yeah, brought on by Preston Manning. But I don't know what happened to it. I think it got overpopulated. I think they started earmarking tests and procedures that were friggin' unnecessary. Like they earmarked colonoscomies. Listen to that. That's the colonoscopy, listening to that noise out there. I can't get away from it. I got signs in the building, don't make noise with your music. No, I put friggin' headphones on to drown out the street noise because they widen the streets. That was conservatives. They've really ruined this town. And I was walking down there. I don't play music for nothing. But he says, oh, I'm playing down here. They told me I can't take any money. They're taking money from one pocket to the next. But a busker, he can't busk. He can't play. What the hell is that? They had all these street musicians down there. I said, just open your case up, though, for $1. Oh, no, that's against the rules. Frig 'em. Frig 'em. I don't do open mics anymore. I don't make any money at it. It's a sort of a thing. You get up there, you get a bit of experience, but I don't do open mics. If I want to do a jam, it's private. And it's not going to be for a crowd to be drawing in a bar to draw in crowds while I'm not getting any money. It's got to be paid for. Everything has to be paid for because this is Collingwood and everything's got to be paid for. We got money. That's the way they think. I got to have money, man. And that's what it is. It's money, money. I go in a place there. He's a good client. He says, listen to this. He says, yeah, but you can leave now. I got to get more money in so you can go. It's all about the money. And it's not always about the money, but when it comes into living around a bunch of money people that are just making money because they're so scared of losing money, which they're going to because this place is crashing. It's a nice area, but it used to be nice when my dad had it. He was liberal. Yeah, I hated conservatives. He was a veteran, World War I. They were all liberal. Shipyard was liberal. It was Paul Martin and a good shipyard there. What happened? Mediations. But they tell lies all the time. Oh, no. Yeah, it's mediation. Take out against the regulations of a mediation union and management. Now, was the liberal call ship the problem? No, it was shipyard workers. They want more money. And so you need to mediate it. It went out. But they tell all sorts of stories. Shipping was going out in Ontario. I think what happened to shipping was the big oil companies wanted more money. They've just depleted everything. Like buses out west, it's hard to get a bus. You got to fly so they can keep the fossil fuels going. It's hard to get around this country. You got to have a car. It seems like it's geared to it. We used to have trains everywhere. Yeah, here I am as an environmentalist. I say put more trains in, more active transportation. That means cut down the traffic flow in Collingwood, Ontario. It's ridiculous. There's a bicycle group comes up from Toronto, and I'm glad they're here, but it's a hell of a place to ride a bicycle. 10 minutes across that friggin' light. Well, the guy that was saying this, he wanted all traffic flow. He was, my cousin was in the police commission. He says, I think he's a pencil pusher. You want to do quota. But you don't have traffic flow. You have traffic calming. They widened the streets, took out the Mountain View Hotel. Yeah. Big old hotel that had been there for hundreds of years. 100 and some years. And they just took it down to widen the streets. They widen it down like a friggin' race course here. And I don't think it's a safe town. I walk down there and there's cars there. They do a different type of driving. They have one foot on the horn, two hands up like this. When somebody slows down, they can't let them turn. It's crazy here. This young man, I watch him. He's living here. He's probably on disability. I'm on the side of disabled people. He's in a wheelchair, and they just honk their horn when he's trying to get across. He can't cross at the lights. There's no time to get across. So he crosses right there and tries to get through, and these guys just speed up. It's a dump. It was a good town until that Kelly Leach, Jim Wilson took over with he brought in Mike Harris. I don't forgive him. I reported him to the Ontario legislature for what he said to me. We don't support small business. Well, what the hell you got and what's going to pay your taxes, you bunch of crooks? Oil companies? You know what I think of Enbridge and all these ones? I had one hell of a time with them. They convinced my brother to put junk on his system. He didn't need that. And they were allowing that. Enbridge, a gas company. All these energy companies are screwing seniors. I'm in this apartment. It's electric. It's through call us. And I paid up for quite a long time. But they were going around knocking on doors, subcontractors in Ontario. Fortunately, that was the only time they worked together to get that down. But they were just like rats going around bothering elders that trusted people. They were putting in water filtration systems, everything. Why do you need water filtration? That's the best town water there is. Why? They're crooks. They're subcontractors of these energy companies, all through Ontario. Who let that go through? Why did Walkerton kill people? Mike Harris. Oh, he didn't get charged. Nah, they get off. Listen. But criminals get off too. 1989, I got shot at driving a taxi here. I don't really like the legal system. I saw him 2.5 years later because I was drinking like a fish in the liquor store. And he said, remember me? Yeah, I remember you. You shot at me. I needed the money. See, I got triggered again. So I'm driving along in the car with my ex-wife before we divorced because I got PTSD from this. And I hear on the radio, he just murdered the next guy. So I really learned there was no reform there. You know, I can go in, rob a bank, you probably get out, and they'll get you off. They give you rights for criminal justice. They don't give you rights for civil law if they steal your real estate or anything. Lawyers aren't defending rights of Canadians with housing and real estate theft. And everybody's going to be doing it as this economy's crashing. So there's nothing. I've tried malpractice. They got a time restraint of 2 years on it. Well, I've been trying to get through malpractice. Oh, hell no. They protect them. What the Ontario College of Physicians and Surgeons did was I said, I want now the reports on you've got them up on review. Yeah, we got them review and we send them back to school for, 2 weeks? I wanted to get a malpractice on. Oh, no, we protect them. Hey, he's a criminal. He's malpractice. He needs a lawsuit. Oh, no, we protect him. So what the hell is that? That's not a watchdog. That's a defender of medical malpractice. The real lawyers here, they said, get to Australia. Well, I want some money to leave. I might have to go up to Ottawa on the bus and try to find a place to stay while I'm up there. Try to find some justice. There's not one bit of justice in this stinking province. I just want to leave Canada now. I got the forms to renounce citizenship because of the progressive conservatives. I really want to denounce citizenship. It's blue everywhere I look. Blue, 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 blue. Because of polarization of social media and rubbish. You don't know anything, you kids. You don't vote, right? You don't even vote. I go around here, I've never seen so much drug addiction. Used to be a safe little town. You're going to get robbed walking at night. They'll rob you because they're all on meth. I support the police, but oh boy, I sure don't support the drugs around here. It's around every part of Canada. You got to have regulations. So you get into regulated boards and you say that's not freedom. Well, I don't think people dying and getting crime and police justice not being met is freedom. What you've got is libertarian conservatism. It's a mental illness, libertarianism. Conservatism could be fiscal, but they're not fiscal. I think Flaherty was fiscal, but they probably killed him. He was telling that we have to cut back. Now the economy's in such a mess. So you can point it at Trudeau. I don't think you can. I think you could point everything at that friggin' Harper. And the country's a mess. And I want out now. It's going blue all the time. They haven't proven to me that they're worthy of politics. Because they're climate deniers and they blocked liberty of peaceful protest or speaking out against the government. You can't say anything. It's a dictatorship. Look at it, Mike Harris. They kettled all those people in Toronto that one year at the G8 and G20 summits. They weren't causing trouble. They showed it on film. It was a disgrace. Those cops that were charged, the superintendents, charged for kettling in people, and they were beat up by the police. It was just dreadful. Globalization, I don't know what to think anymore. I don't think it's benefited us. I don't think it's benefited. It's just been a scapegoat. Money and racketeering.